To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So living off-grid, one of the biggest problems or obstacles that you have to deal with is weather. Now, if you include our nomadic life, we were nomads for 3 years, and we never went to a paid campsite except for one time. And so most of the time, we were off-grid living in our nomadic lifestyle. Quasi, I guess. I mean, we had the generator, and if you consider gasoline as being on-grid, then we were quasi off-grid. But now that we are completely off-grid, solar panels, our own water source, weather is always an obstacle. 2 days ago, it was 88 degrees. We're running the air conditioner, trying to keep cool when we come inside. And then last night, it got down to 32 degrees. And it's really cold right now. I would say it's probably about 38 degrees. Of course, I'm not prepared for winter. That means that all my water is an issue. So last night, I had to unplug the hose and shut off the water pump, but I forgot to drain it. And then we had to bring in the garden plants. And so imagine, Carolyn, me, and a bunch of garden plants in there. Things get a little cramped. But weather affects everything. And believe it or not, weather can affect solar panels significantly. Solar panels are built and tested in a controlled environment, 77 degrees. When there's a variance of 77 degrees above or below, your solar panels are affected by that. So here it is, 38 degrees. And right now I am producing 20 volts and 3 amps. The reason I'm only producing 3 amps is because it's shaded. The sun's behind the trees, and so there's a lot of shade on it. I expect the shading to be an issue, but temperature, I can't control. If I was really concerned about the shading, then all I would have to do is move the solar panels into a sunnier spot. My panels produce 100 watts at full sun. So if I do the math, volts times amps equals watts, I know for a fact that my panel, one panel is 100 watts at 5.4 amps. So all I got to do is divide 100 divided by 5.4, and that gives me about 18.5 volts. But if I go in and look at my voltmeter right now, which I did before I came out to do this video, I was making 20.1 volts. Wait a minute, how's that possible? Well, it's possible because of temperature. Because it's below 77 degrees, I am making more volts than they're designed to make. According to the web page that I read, you can actually determine the temperature by how many volts your panels are putting out. But the converse is true also. The hotter it gets, the less volts it makes, which is a serious issue. So before I get into all this, it's important that you understand what volts and amps mean. Now, before you shut off this video like, oh, my eyes are glazing over, I'm going to try to make this as entertaining and as easy to understand as possible. I know that every time I talk about electricity, we get about to the 5-minute mark and people shut off the video. I'm going to use an example of a balloon and your lungs, okay? We've all tried to blow up a balloon. Well, I remember many times that I would sit there and I would try to blow in a balloon, and you just couldn't get the darn thing to fill up because your lungs didn't have enough pressure to fill the balloon. Had plenty of air in it. Once you got the thing to stretch out, you could blow it up in one blow, especially like the ones that use for balloon animals. Those are always tough. But once you got it to stretch open, blew it right open. Okay, so if I can't blow up that balloon, it means I didn't have enough pressure. It also means I could translate that into volts. In the world of electricity, volts is pressure. So right now, my panels are producing 20 volts or 20 pressures, PSI. Amps is the volume of air or the volume of electricity. So once you got the pressure to blow that balloon up, you can blow it up in one big blow, right? Well, right now, my panels, all 8 of them, are only making 3 amps or 3 volumes. I've got a lot of pressure, but very little air to put into it. So it's going to have to all day long just trying to blow up that balloon. But as the sun comes up in the sky and the shading goes away, I'll be making about 40 amps. Really going to be pushing a lot of volume of electricity into the battery. I'm going to have 20 volts and 40 amps. Man, I'm going to be making a lot of electricity on this nice cool day. But when it's hot, the voltage decreases. And this is a real problem because voltage is pressure. And so when it was 88 degrees, I was only making 15 volts, but I was making a lot of amps. I guess about 600 watts. Now my panels can produce 800 watts. On a 77-degree day, it can produce 800 watts. But here I'm making 600 watts. Okay, well, Rob, you only lose 200 watts. That's not the issue. Yeah, I'm only losing 200 watts and I'm not using that much electricity. The problem comes in at the battery. The battery is the balloon. Lead acid batteries require voltage. I don't know about lithium batteries. My guess is lithium batteries would not be as hard to charge, but lithium batteries are $800 and I'm not going to buy lithium batteries. And most of us who live in the realistic world probably won't buy lithium batteries either. So in order to effectively charge a lead acid battery, you have to have lots of pressure, lots of voltage, about 18 volts as it stands. So what happens is so your battery will, on a good cool day, on a 77-degree day, will charge up to about 14.4 volts. And then your charge controller will shut off, and then it maintains your battery at about 13 volts. And then when you shut off the charger, when the sun goes down, your battery will be holding steady about 12.9 to 13 volts. That's exactly what you want to see. And then as you use your battery, it'll drop down to 12.3 volts. And then you're going to want to charge your battery back up. Volts, that's exactly what you want to see. Pressure. So you got to have 18 volts of power from your panels to get your battery up to 14.4 volts. Well, here's the problem, is on a hot day, the panels are only producing 15 volts. There is not enough pressure to stretch out your balloon, the battery, to get it up to 14 volts. I'm producing all kinds of amps, but no volts. So what happens is my battery stops charging at roughly 13.4 volts, at least on an 88-degree day. So my batteries aren't getting charged. That means I'm not going to have enough battery to get me through the night. So I'll have to run the generator to charge the batteries up before I go to bed. It only takes about 2 hours. This is not a big deal. I'm specifically talking about the problem of charging batteries with solar panels. Here's what's interesting. I was still able to run the air conditioner. The air conditioner uses 500 watts. Now remember, I told you I was making 600 watts. So there was enough volts and amps to run the air conditioner. I was able to run it all day, as a matter of fact. I think from 11 to 6 o'clock, I was able to run the air conditioner quite well because the inverter, which inverts DC electric into AC electric, so I can plug my air conditioner into, because you can't plug your air conditioner into DC. It'd be like trying to plug your air conditioner into your car battery. You just can't do it. So what you're doing is you're inverting battery electric into wall electric. So the inverter only needs 12 volts. Actually, it needs about 11.6, which is dangerously low. You actually don't want to run your batteries that low. Since the inverter doesn't need a lot of voltage to run, then it sucked up all the amps is what it was doing. But the nice thing about running the generator to charge the batteries with lead acid batteries, you have to do it anyways. About once every 2 weeks or every week, I actually do it every week, you want to do a maintenance charge on your lead acid batteries. That way, your batteries can last about 5 years. Now, the advantage you can have on most mornings it's below 77 degrees. I would imagine most of the summer is going to be below 77 degrees. So what you need to do is get your charge in the morning. If I had a less shaded area, I could take my solar panels, port them straight to the sun in the morning time, get my batteries all charged up, and then all day I can run the air conditioner after the batteries are charged. And then I wouldn't have a problem at all. The problem is right now I just got a lot of shade, and I got to figure out how to deal with the shading issue. Thanks for watching.